This is The Download from Sounds Profitable, your daily source for the essential news of the business of podcasting. Brought to you by Spreaker from iHeart. I'm Tom Webster. Here's what you need to know for today, Tuesday, April 16th. First, we have a correction. Contrary to our reporting yesterday, Adam Sachs is not leaving his position at SiriusXM or Team Coco. The podcast and website version of The Download have been altered to reflect this, and we apologize for the mistake. In other news, the IAB PwC Internet Advertising Revenue Report for this year has dropped, and it has some good news about audio. B2B and Internet advertising have seen some of the most positive revenue growth since 2022, with audio, which encompasses music, radio, and podcasts, seeing a 4.1% increase in revenue compared to last year's edition of the same report. The IAB's podcast advertising revenue report will be released during the podcast upfront on May 9th. From Ad News, the merit within the complexity of ARN's bid for SCA. Investment bank Morgan Stanley weighs in on ARN, that's in Australia, and private equity firm Anchorage Capital Partners' proposal to acquire broadcaster SCA, Southern Cross Austereo. If the proposal is approved, Morgan Stanley expects ARN's talent and content, including podcasts, to be moved into Listener, which is their app, creating a single audio streaming platform, potentially ending the iHeart Australia app. Not all aspects of the proposed deal are public information. Still, the bank believes a larger version of Listener, with more ad inventory, would be better positioned to grow, armed with a better tech stack and more first-party data. In Digiday, WTF is the American Privacy Rights Act. This week, Digiday's WTF Explainer series tackles APRA, a proposed bill that would limit the amount of data companies can collect on people while giving users the ability to manage, correct, and export their own data. Effectively an American version of Europe's GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, which currently has bipartisan support. Given that support, it's likely the act won't disappear, depending on how this November's election cycle turns out. APRA has yet to be formally submitted to Congress for review, so in all likelihood, the ad industry has a few months to figure out compliance strategies and adjust to a future with tighter regulation. And as you can tell, the police are in the background, and they're going to get me. And for the rest of the news, Max Cutler, who formerly oversaw Spotify's creator partnerships, has announced his new media company, Pave Studios. The Peabody Awards and Center for Media and Social Impact have launched We Disrupt This Broadcast, a PRX-distributed podcast, interviewing TV creatives shaping entertainment with disruptive new narratives and approaches, such as Quinta Brunson and Damon Lindelof. Ashley Carmen covers the curious trend of advertisements in which an influencer films the video so it looks like a clip of an authoritative figure being interviewed on a non-existent video podcast. Conan O'Brien reflects on his career and how podcasting allows him more FaceTime with guests and more opportunities for guests who have nothing to promote. And NBC announces This Was Us, a This Is Us rewatch podcast featuring actors from the show. This Is Us ended in 2022, making this one of the quickest official TV rewatch podcast debuts after a show's finale. And finally today, we have a data snapshot over on the web version of today's issue of The Download. A lot is said about podcasts with wide-reaching audiences that cover a big portion of podcasting. But today, we look at the top 5 shows for exclusive listeners, the top 5 podcasts within the top 500 covered by Edison Research, with audiences who listen to nothing else, at least podcast-wise. Be sure to check out the links to every article mentioned right in your podcast listening app or at soundsprofitable.com, where you can also subscribe to the newsletter version. The Download is written and produced by Brian Barletta, Gavin Gaddis, and me, Tom Webster. This episode is recorded using Numano. For Sounds Profitable, I'm Tom Webster. Download us again tomorrow.